we need to give people a second to tune in, right?
We do. It's not 1969.
So, hey everybody, this is Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching our weekly live guitar building and repair Q&A, and that's a good picture. Oh, we got that thing going again. So we had a little bit of technical difficulty today. Chris sent me over the link to the live stream, and the whole idea was that I was supposed to put the little graphic with the board that says live Q&A episode 9 today, but somehow or another YouTube defaulted to midnight 1969 December 31st, right?
Yeah. So we were on
Yeah,
40 years ago, 50 years ago.
plus years ago, yeah. Anyway, so sorry if we kind of took you guys by surprise. What is the video called so far? We might change it as we go, right?
Live Q&A and an unboxing a package from Brad Angove.
All of
there's
those-
some super quality grammar here. And unboxing a package.
Okay. Well, we'll change it in post. It's okay. Sometimes, you gotta, continued improvement is better than delayed perfection.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
We've been very, very busy. Do you want to move this? It's probably got a bunch of like sneeze-inducing dusts on it. So,
I'm gonna move this.
yeah, okay. There we go. So we got to give people a few minutes.
We're getting some people here now.
Cool. So guys, we didn't forget about you. It's just, that's sometimes the way
I
it goes.
check and see that it's there, but I didn't check it until 2 minutes before.
I actually remember it was like straight up 5. So we'll go a little past 6 today.
Yes,
we'll give you guys the
at
full
5:04.
Okay, so not too bad, not terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was, chomping at the bit to listen to us for an hour, but so anyway, so guys, this is the thing that we try to do. This is the thing that we do every Thursday, other than the days that we are doing live online classes, which are also Thursdays, and we do one of those a month. Every other Thursday, we do this live at 5 thing, where we take your questions and try to answer them to the best of our ability, and we take as many of them as we can, just sort of rapid fire. It's very helpful if you type in a bunch of question marks so we know that you're talking to us. Just like if you're watching Phil McKnight, he asks you to do the same thing. If Phil's watching, hey Phil, how you doing? Hope you're having a good holiday season. And if you're watching this later on and I haven't been able to go in and remove the commercials, YouTube adds a bunch of commercials to anything over a certain time limit. They load up the feed in the middle of the middle row commercials. And I always take those out, but I got to go home and do it. And sometimes I want to have dinner with my wife or something, so it takes a little bit longer. Anyway, if you're watching immediately after we're done and you get a bunch of commercials, you can tell me there's a bunch of commercials, but I already know, and I'm gonna take them out later. All right, so let's jump right in. The live stream is brought to you by several of our several sponsors, one of which is Aquacoat. And the good people over at Aquacoat have provided us with some of their high-performance grain filler. We've used it and really, really like this stuff. I would urge you guys to try Aquacoat too. It's water-based. You can, it doesn't really it kind of smells like paste, but it's you can use it in the house and you won't, die from the fumes or anything. And it's awesome stuff. I always put it on too heavy. So my new thing with Aquacoat is to not put it on too heavy. And but yeah, the good people at Aquacoat helping us out, bringing you guys this production. Also, thanks to our good friends at Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. If you're in the Denver area and you want to go in and give Ike a big fat kiss, he'll probably at least give you a hug back. And Dylan and Nico too, those guys, MJ, all very cool guys. If you're not in the Denver area, you can shop 24/7 online at Flipside Music or Flipside_music.com. Just use your Google machine, you'll find Flipside Music. Also like to thank our friends at Guitar Wood Experts, Dan and Calvin over there, providing us with lots and lots of quality timber. And if you guys are in the market for guitar wood, think Dan at Guitar Wood Experts. And if you use TX or Texas Toast 10, I can't remember what the Can't remember what the discount code is, but I think it's Texas Toast 10 or Texas Toast 15. I think it's still a good one. You can get a little bit of money off. Speaking of money off, Cheryl and John at Bitterroot Guitars have been sponsored. We've been sponsored by them for a long time. Very, very cool people. Son of a bitch. Will you grab that, Jesse, please? Sorry, the air compressor kicked on, but don't worry. I talk loud enough that you won't even hardly notice. Thank you. So John and Cheryl over at Bitterroot Guitars have been friends of the channel for a long time, and I know for a fact that if you type in TXTOAST at checkout, you get 15% off your entire Bitterroot order. They're actually doing some traveling right now, so they won't be shipping out for about a week, but we sneaked one right in at the end. So anyway, thanks to John and Cheryl at Bitterroot Guitars. Did we have something that came in that we need to address right away?
Yeah, Dave Weiss says it's like the movie Seven. What's in the box?
We don't know.
In the box? I don't think it's a human head. I think the average human head weighs about 7 pounds.
But it's
and this
big
box
enough to be a
slightly
human
under 7 pounds.
Yeah.
But it is big enough.
And we also got a special delivery from our friend Steve at what is it? Gals and Gears, but more specifically, Pinup Pops. And so these are soda because we don't drink beer during the live Q&A because we kind of want to keep this. I don't want
serious
It's
business.
not a family show, but it's still a serious show. You want to try one of these out? We got a root.
Yeah, I want to try the root beer.
All right, there. I'll try the black cherry.
Okay, I'm gonna drink one of each.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna too. Yeah.
So I'm saving what I'm hoping is the better one.
All right. So, and I'm not sharing with you either. So.
No, dude.
All right. So here's the. So Steve came out to our Build a Classic Strat class the other week, and was telling us about Pinup Pops. And we're like, man, we got to get some of those. So he sent us out.
That's why it was so difficult.
Oh, there. Okay. And each one has their classic flavors with good-looking ladies on the
classic ladies.
Yeah, on the label, and yeah,
root beery.
it's refreshing. I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
So I'm not sure if Steve's in full production right now. COVID, as he said, was kind of giving him the business, right?
Yeah, and I think he did really well at car shows, and car shows are
They kind of died down a little
bit. So
all right.
yeah.
So let's before we jump into questions, here is the box that we got from Brad Angove. As you can see, it's oddly enough, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's been crushed or opened.
It's been opened because it got taped, and you'd have to bypass that. It looks like it got cut.
Yeah.
I think somebody was looking to see if it really was a trophy.
Yeah,
as
so
it says
the
on
declared thing, the declaration says trophy. So anyway, let's open it up and see what Brad sent us. We should have the Brad puppet. Where is the Brad puppet?
He's right behind me.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy, what are you doing? You gonna open my box, buddy? I think the Brad puppet took a beating today. Whoa!
Yeah.
Didn't it? Oh, I see
Yeah.
what happened.
I taped it back together. So Brad Angove, thank you for sending us whatever this is, unless it's a big thing of dog turds, or a fleshlight. No, it actually appears to be a real live. I think it's a miniature.
No problem, buddy.
I think you know what I think it is. I think it's a miniature Stanley Cup. There's something in it. I wonder if it's a Coors Light. Oh shit! It's upside down. Hold on, I got it all fixed up. I'm opening it. I'm trying to get this in the camera, but the camera's facing up. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Oh crap! It broke. It is a miniature Stanley Cup.
And it did break. We're gonna have to glue it together using superior American technology.
Oh, that's a bummer because this is really cool. Maybe Brad sent us a broken one.
I doubt that.
That would seem odd, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Most effort for necks, eh? Does it? Is this like the Stanley
What's it
Cup?
say? I think it's just a.
It says
standard- most effort, most necks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's pretty good. I'm bummed out it broke.
Yeah, we'll have to glue it back together.
Can we glue it back together?
Yeah.
Well, Brad, thanks, man. That's cool. We really like Brad. And I know a lot of you guys think that there's a bunch of animosity between everybody who competed in the Great Guitar Build-Off.
No way, buddy.
But yeah, it's nothing could be further from the truth. You know, maybe just this is a great trophy with a broken thing on it there.
Maybe what we should do
Is attach
is
Brad's?
attach Brad to it.
Maybe. We'll figure it out. Thank you, Brad. I'm sorry that it broke, man. That's a bummer because this is really nice. So, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's it. Oh, wait, there's a thing. So this is a note, too, from Brad. What's up, Texas Toast? I know you've been waiting for a trophy since before our contest started. That's true. Since it doesn't look like Ben is sending one, here you go. By the way, and Brad has such nice penmanship. By the way, the people who brought English to your country use neck it as slang for chug it. I'm sure you know what to do. Please don't chug Coors Light out of the trophy. I wish I could chug anything out of this, unless you're supposed to chug it out of this end. That would have been so cool. We could have. This is a mug I would have wanted to chug. So yeah. Anyway, well,
Let's leave it
yeah. So
right there.
Okay. All right.
It's a bummer that it broke.
It's a bummer that it broke. But it's because it's nice.
Yeah, you can't have anything nice.
I can't. Hey.
You could have something
You-
nice.
ow.
I can't have
Yeah,
anything nice.
I already cut myself on a shard
On
of.
a bit of trophy.
Yeah, that's all right.
I think that's exactly what Brad wanted
Brad's
to
secret
do.
plan. I don't think Brad wishes any ill on
Broken
anyone.
trophy bits in your hand. He'll never carve again.
Mm-hmm.
He'll pull to the left. He'll carve to the left.
So, are there any questions about guitar building and repair?
Yes.
Let's hear one.
Philip Hutchinson says,
Hi,
"Hi guys,
Phil.
always wanted to ask, have you standardized your set neck pockets, regardless of type of guitar build? Same neck pocket for LP, LP Junior, PRS, etc."
So, Philip, this is a conversation that Chris and I had many years ago. Was we wanted to standardize that neck as much as we could, so that our Challenger guitar, which is our own shape, our Challenger model guitar could have one neck that worked with any body, but the neck pocket and everything would be the same. So we could make, essentially what we decided was we could make Challengers that looked like Les Pauls, or we even did a Strat one time, or whatever shape you wanted that was a set neck. And for the most part, that works. There are some areas, though, where it definitely doesn't work. So anytime you change the scale from 24 3/4 to something else, it's kind of close, and you could fudge it. Anytime you've got the fretboard going like on a double cutaway guitar, and the fretboard is like joins the body at the body rather than inside the body, it doesn't really work particularly well for that. But for the most part, yes, we've standardized our neck. What's your thought on that, Chris?
Yeah, that's exactly what we did. We've built a lot of guitars that are basically the same from bridge to headstock, just with different outlines.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It works particularly well with Gibson style shapes, except for like the SG. Well, really, it works great with single cutaway guitars. Or guitars that the neck is set in 3 inches, any Fender, for example. So we could do.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you decided that you wanted to come out to one of our build a classic set neck guitar, our TTG 350 class, one of those is coming up in January. You could build a Telecaster and you could use that same neck technology. So, yeah. Cool. Thank you for asking.
Next question. Emiliano Arosa wants to know,
Emiliano.
how would you weight relieve a stupid heavy guitar that is one-piece mahogany without routing a pickguard cavity?
Boy, there's really not a good way to do that to where you won't see it.
Yeah.
I got an email from a guy, Luke, the other day, and he's got a guitar that he really likes, but it says it's very heavy. And he says, could you route from the back and remove as much mass from the back and then screw a like plastic cover on the back? And I'm like, well, yeah, we could do that, but he's like, I don't care if you see it or not, because it'll be on the back. So that's one way that you could do it. So I don't know if Luke is going to send us the guitar and we're going to hog it all out and then recess up you could do a clear piece of acrylic. That might be kind of neat. So it looked like you meant to do it. Yeah, there's really no super excellent way to, without altering the finish.
Yeah. I can't think of any way to do it that's not going to majorly alter the look of the guitar. You can make the whole guitar thinner.
Yeah.
You could probably not, cut the back of it off, hog a bunch of shit out, and then put the back on.
And touch up paint.
And touch up. That would be a way. The one question that I have about this is how stupid heavy is the guitar, and what's your goal weight? How many pounds do you want to lose? And a lot of times it's just not possible with the body. There's just not enough material that you can take away to make it the acceptable weight.
Remember we had that mahogany that we got, and it was stupid heavy.
Yeah.
And it was like, we made some bodies with it, and we're like, we can't do anything with this. We just ended up throwing them out because they were just too heavy. And we're like, no one's going to want these. And Jesse's actually looking for them. And we tossed them. We ended up pitching them because they were too heavy and there was nothing we could do with them. And it would have been easier to just build a new guitar body than try and make those work.
Yep. Yeah. So the other thing, and we talk about this a lot, is, there's lightweight guitars, there's acceptable weight guitars, and then there's heavy guitars. And the difference between those three isn't as much as you would think.
Yeah.
Lightweight guitar is anything under 8 or 7.5. An acceptable guitar is 7.5 to closing in on 9. Mm-hmm. As soon as you hit that 9-pound mark, guitars feel like they're nailed to the floor for some reason.
Like whenever someone picks up a guitar, they say one of two things. One is, wow, this is really light. Or, oh gosh, so heavy.
Yeah, what is this, 13 pounds?
Yeah, or they say nothing.
Yeah. At a 13-pound guitar, that's a heavy guitar.
That's a heavy guitar.
And very few guitars weigh 13 pounds. Yeah. Even guitars that you think are heavy, we like playing that game too. What's this weigh? We guess, and then we get the digital scale out, and it's always lighter than you think on heavy guitars. So
it's always heavier than I think on light guitars too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that there's that weird.
You're like, well, I'm not feeling that strong today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. Next question.
Yeah.
Todd Johnson wants to know, why do we rock so much?
Hi, Todd. I guess
easy.
genetics. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why we rock so much.
A lot of practice.
I'm not 100% sure that we rock at all.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Todd is just sort of shining us on.
I think he's trying to butter us up for something.
Yeah, or he's being sarcastic and he doesn't want to say what he really means.
Yeah,
but,
what do you guys suck so much? Oh, it does. No, it doesn't. It says rock. All right.
We do not rock. We're way too old to rock.
Yeah. Next question. Paul, I hope I'm saying your name right. Paul Belland?
Paul B.
Well, it's P-O-L. So,
Paul P.
Yeah.
Paulie P. Hi, Paul.
3 episodes ago, with the Wayback Machine theme, you were talking about truss rods being the cause of guitars going down a half step, full step over time. What else you got if it's not this?
I don't remember saying that.
I think we were talking about humidity changes and how when you can tell when, at least here in Colorado, I can tell when it's wintertime and the room starts getting drier where my guitars are, because they've been in tune all summer long and all of a sudden they're all out of tune.
Okay.
And it's because of the humidity and you have to adjust some stuff. I usually don't adjust it, I just retune them because it's not that big of a deal.
You should probably, everyone probably retunes when they pick up their guitar anyway.
Well, I retune, but all of a sudden 1 week it'll be completely different. Yeah. Yeah, I tune my guitar every time before I play, but usually they're very, very close, and all of a sudden they're not close at all.
But so if it weren't for the truss rod needing adjustment, why would a guitar go out of tune like across the board a half step?
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that's what Paul
that's what he's asking,
meant.
and I just chalk it up to humidity or lack of humidity.
Or your friend sneaks in and turns your tuning keys all the same amount.
Or gremlins.
Yeah.
Tommy knockers. If you're here and you live close to a mining town.
I'm not sure what would make a guitar go out of tune the exact amount from string to string.
And it's I don't, at least for me, it's not the exact amount, but it's, all of a
pretty
sudden
close,
a bunch of stuff's
though.
half step off. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and acoustics do it too, and that's why I think it's humidity.
Yeah.
Even on an electric guitar, because you start getting fret sprout if that's a thing, and
It's a thing.
Well, I don't mean but
I know
mean
you
if-
know. Yeah.
If you haven't already corrected it from a previous year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Turned like this is kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Don't freak out. Don't hate. Appreciate. Here, I'll read one for you.
That's okay.
Okay.
Gosh darn it. Is that an
Consarned-
SG acoustic? I think he means that one up there.
No. So I don't know if you can see that one.
That is an attack of an anxiety.
Yeah, that guitar up there was a guitar that I smashed one day, and it's quite thin actually, but it's not an acoustic. It's definitely hacked all the pieces.
Okay, Jed Ropkins says, quick tip, guys, your eye should be at 2/3 of the viewer's screen.
Like that?
I don't know.
I don't. What does that mean? Your eyes?
I think our eyes are supposed to be up here.
Okay, well we just moved it for.
Yeah.
You want to move it back?
Who set that rule?
I don't know. The what we're really going for here more than anything is what the audio is like.
Yeah. All right.
How's
next.
that? That looks like about. It's more than 2/3. That's as good as I can get.
Yeah. All right. Lauren Court wants to know, for an S-type or T-type neck, 25.5-inch scale, what is the best length for a truss rod?
17-inch.
That's what we use.
Yeah, they work out to be about 17 and a quarter. But what you want to do is go to Bitterroot Guitars and get one of their double-acting truss rods. That's 17 and a quarter. If you just look up 17, that's the one to get. That's the one we use. And if you type in TXTOAST at checkout, you'll save 15%. What?
Jim Bucket says bullet holes equals weight relief.
It does.
Yeah, he's not wrong. Not much, but speaking of weight relief, sometimes we don't do it. Well, yeah, we do. You start with a full-size blank, and you weigh that, and then you cut it down, and you weigh it again, and then you put a bunch of relief in it, and you weigh it again, and it's not as much as you would think. It takes a lot, I mean, because if you're talking about, a 6-pound body and you want it to weigh 4 pounds, that's 2 pounds. That's, 25% of the weight.
What was one that we took off a bunch of weight? Was remarkable how much we got off. Was it that 336 style that we were doing?
Yeah, because it's basically a frame.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a tiny little back. So, yeah. Any experience, Broke Man Fishing wants to know, any experience with those tremolo stabilizers? Just a gimmick?
The Hipshot Trem stabilizer, I believe. I have not ever used them. I don't
used one either.
Mike
Learn would be the guy to ask about that.
Yeah, he would probably know better than us. We should be able to go live to Mike, but we can't. Here's what I think about trems. Get a good one. Get a good set of tuners. Make sure your nut is cut right, and that trem stabilizer thing shouldn't do anything. Now, I think so. One of the benefits of that is if a string breaks, it doesn't throw the whole thing out of whack. Is that right?
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Maybe.
we don't know the answer.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought it was to stop, like if you have a Strat or a Floyd and you're trying to palm mute, you can push it out of tune with your hand. You can also bend it into making all sorts of other weird noises. So I thought it was meant to kind of stabilize that kind of thing, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I don't know a lot.
You know a lot, Chris.
Not
Chris,
about
you're
that.
better than that. Yeah.
Not about that. Ooh, here's a good question from
Okay.
the Electric Sex Machine.
Hey,
oh,
Scott.
sorry. Nope, wrong guy. Wrong guy. Although, hello to Scott Berry. Hello from Japan.
Hey.
From Fat Philosopher. Is it safe to leave your guitar strap on your guitar 24/7?
I don't see why not. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, lacquer guitars. Sometimes the strap can react adversely with the lacquer, and I've seen guitars get damaged by straps being on guitars.
The other thing that could potentially happen is you left the strap on the guitar and then you hung it on the wall and then something snagged it and pulled the whole guitar off the wall. Ask me how I know that can happen.
So I'd say depending on the finish, if it's urethane or polyester finish, yeah, you could leave the strap on it. That's what I do with all of mine. Each guitar has its own strap.
Or if it's in the case, absolutely.
Yeah. But if it's lacquer, I would probably not, unless I knew for sure.
It does. Like a strap can wear a circle in a lacquered finish really easily.
Yeah, and I think I saw where a guy had a leather strap on a lacquer finished guitar, leather strap on a lacquer guitar. There we go. And there was some sort of chemical in the leather that softened up the finish.
I had an SG bass. It's not an EBO, but one of the reissue SG basses from a couple years ago in that Fireburst color, and it was black on the back, and the top was nice maple and a cool finish. And you know what I used to use is I'd put the strap on there, and then I'd put those Jim Dunlop twisty deals to keep the strap from coming off, and I just leave it on there, and it didn't wear into the wood, but it like took the sheen off of the back of or in that strap button area really fast.
Yep. Lauren Court wants to know, is it too late to sign up for the home neck class?
It is too late to sign up for the home neck class.
Yeah.
However, we will offer that as you can just get the video portion after the class is done. The reason it's too late is we have to send out the necks, and so we have all the necks ready to go, and so we don't have any extras right now. So and that's next week, so we still have to get those
We
out.
still have to finish. Dave Weiss wants to know, hang on a second here.
All right.
Dave Weiss wants to know, any recommendations for getting a Fender-style headstock sanded to the right thickness if I don't have a drum sander?
Well, yes and no.
If you have an oscillating spindle sander.
Yeah, we don't know what tools you do have.
If you have an oscillating spindle sander, you can do it on that with a jig. You have to make some sort of
You kind of build a fence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do it with that.
That's a great way to go, and that's what we used to do prior to getting the Old Man Machine drum sander. And by the way, that is the same tool that they used, and maybe they still use, at the MIT in Nashville. Remember, they don't have a thickness sander. They've got lots of neat stuff, but they have an oscillating spindle sander with like a 2-inch
movable fence.
Yep.
Yeah, for different thicknesses.
And that will absolutely work. What if you don't have that? Then you could maybe if you have a belt sander, you could use that and go real slow, and just kind of put stuff on there and check. What if you had a drill press and a Wagner safety planer? Let's get one out. Vamp for a little while, Chris.
About the Wagner safety planer?
No, about like other
about
things.
other things?
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to know, Ben31 wanted to know, are any fabrics particularly bad for tops? I've been looking at some, and they looked good, but were really stretchy.
Yeah, those are not good.
They're not good.
Sheets with like 200 thread count are not good.
No. The stuff we use is usually just cotton.
It's like what they have the most of.
Yeah. Basically, if it's too stretchy, or if it's too thick, or if it's backed with a bunch of metallic thread, that doesn't work. But if it's just regular cotton printed material, brand new, it works pretty well. Just
Although
about
we
anything.
have done with an old shirt someone sent us too.
Yeah, we did, but that was basically the same kind of material, just older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
let's go back
All
to
right, so
headstock
safety
thicknessing.
plane.
So if you don't have a drum sander and you don't have an oscillating spindle sander and you don't have, what was the other thing that I said you could?
Old man machine.
Old
Oh,
man
that's the
machine,
drum
spindle sander. Oh, belt sander.
Yeah.
If you don't have those, but somehow or another you do have a drill press, you could buy one of these. This is an old one. This is a Wagner safety planer, and Stuart McDonald sells a version of this now. It's not. I think they bought the rights to this. And believe it or not, what you do is you chuck this up in your drill press and spin this thing at whatever RPM it says to use. I don't know. And you can plane things, especially something the size of a headstock, reasonably easy. And then you need to make the transition to, from, like, if you're doing a Fender, you need to make the transition from the headstock to the fretboard, and you'll have to do that with some sort of rasp or something. But this is a way to go. It's not my favorite tool by a long shot. Have you ever used this, or have you just watched me use it and go, I'm not using that?
Yeah, I watched videos on it, and just knowing,
Yeah.
that drill presses just don't turn very fast.
Yeah.
For that kind of thing.
So
Yeah.
it does work, and it can work well. So that's a way to go.
Yeah, cool. There you go.
I do not recommend you putting this in a hand drill and going for it.
No,
I'm not saying you
definitely need a
can't,
drill
but
press.
yeah.
Yeah. Todd Johnson says, any thoughts on a finish repair class?
Well,
I
haven't.
I've
No,
thought
okay.
about it, and I've thought I don't want to do a class like that.
Yeah.
We don't do a lot of finish repair.
The real trick would be we would have to have a bunch of guitars with the exact same finish flaw that need to be repaired, right?
Yeah. We might do some finish classes, but I don't know about finish repair.
Finish repair is tricky. I would say the thing to do would be to just jump in and try some of that stuff and see what you like and see what you can find. Now, don't try it out on your prized guitar, but you could. How could you do that? You could like get a piece of wood, and you could basically make a test piece.
Yeah.
You could get a I don't know. You could even get a piece of plywood and sand it to 220 and finish it, and then put a big chip in it or something. I mean, you could,
Yeah.
and then you could try out a bunch of different ways. And hey, that worked. Hey, that didn't work. And I tell you what you'll find is lacquer is really easy to repair, and everything else is not as easy to repair. So.
Yep. There you go. Dan wants to know, did Chris get a promotion, did a video all by himself this week? I did. Yeah, it was purely managerial promotion. No increase in pay. A lot more responsibility. I have to lock up at night, and I have to make videos every once in a while.
I don't mind, not doing videos every time. So there's a lot of people were like, is Matt not doing them anymore? And I'm like, no, not doing any more videos. I'll make videos, I'll keep making videos, and hopefully Chris will start making more videos too, because I think it's really fun. So yeah. Do we get a couple super chats?
We have, but we haven't quite reached that portion.
Okay.
I'm starting at the top and I'm working down
Oh,
because
wow.
I can't jump back and forth.
Okay.
Electric Sex Machine wants to know, what are your thoughts on transporting guitars in flight? Do you recommend releasing string tension?
I don't, but
I don't either, but I know people that do, and I've shipped some guitars, and people have been irritated that I didn't loosen the strings.
But then the inverse is true. I've shipped some guitars and been, what'd you tune it down for?
Was it? Yeah. So
It doesn't
you can't
hurt, but
win.
I don't think it's going to help a lot.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Unless it's the only reason I would do that is if it's like a Gibson and I was afraid that checking it was they were going to chuck it around and maybe to try and save a headstock from breaking. But
tell
I
you
also
what,
probably wouldn't bring a guitar like that on a flight.
You know as well as I do, though, that taking the strings off of a Gibson and putting it
it's
in the
still not
case is
gonna-
no guarantee that,
no,
yeah.
No.
Okay.
Dented Robot wants to know, why do you always skip my question? I don't know that I did.
What's your
maybe,
question?
Yeah, ask your question again.
We try to not
We'll
skip
see it.
anyone's
I try
question.
not to. Yeah, I'm starting at the top, and if I miss it, it's because it just kind of gets buried.
If we do skip your question, it's not because of any reason. It's because we can't see it or it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, Richard Ryan
Hey,
super
Richard.
chatted us $5 and wants you to talk a little bit about the evolution of the Challenger. You mentioned something about lightening it.
Yeah, so the Challenger actually, I think, because that's a design that is very familiar looking to a lot of people, but it's not a Telecaster, it's not a Les Paul. In fact, if you deep dive into what it is more than anything else, you might be surprised to find that there's an element or two of the Firebird in that. Anyway. The Challenger's undergone a bunch of design changes, and the most recent one, as Richard pointed out, is a fairly radical weight relieving. In fact, vamp for a little while, Chris, and I'll go get the template.
One of the reasons that Matt and I talk a lot about guitar weight is because some of the early Challengers were a little weighty. They were they were closing in on that 9 pound, and there was even a couple that were over that 9 pounds, and they felt heavy. And it was amazing. You have one that weighed 8.5 and one that weighed 9.2, and that 9.2 Challenger felt like it weighed 4 or 5 extra pounds.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to figure out a way to consistently be able to make the guitars feel lighter, because there's nothing worse than somebody picking up a guitar, brand new guitar, and the first words out of their mouth is, "Oh, it's heavy, isn't it?"
Yeah.
You'd rather they said nothing.
Yeah.
And the best is, "Oh, this is really light."
Oh, wow, so light.
In this day and age, in these troubled times.
No one ever says, "Oh, wow, it's really light."
Yeah, why is it so light?
Yeah, no one ever complains because it's too light. And making it out of wood, you're never going to get
they're not
below.
going to weigh 3 pounds.
Yeah.
But
so this is what our Challenger looks like on the inside. Now remember, this is the negative or the mirror image. So this is what a left-handed one would look like on the inside. But because the pin file, you guys know what I'm talking about. So this center section here is actually all the way there. It's all the way through from the neck pocket all the way to the ass end. And this whole section here and this bottom section down here are all weight relieved to the thickness of the back is actually thinner than the thickness of the sides. And then we add a 1/4 inch top to this, and that's kind of what our Challengers look like now. The neat thing too is we designed this we wanted to make sure that we didn't have to drill any holes for our pickup wires to go. So we just made this center section actually cut off the pickup, just the hint of that pickup area there, so we can run wires from the switch to the controls and back again, and it's just really handy. So, yeah, the Challenger's on a number of changes and updates, and that's the most recent one.
yeah, and they come out nice and light, and everybody's happy.
Yeah.
You start putting, the other thing too is you put good quality hardware on a guitar, and things can get weighty fast. A good Stratocaster bridge weighs a lot more than a cheap one, and you put that on and some good locking tuners, and all of a sudden your guitar's 3/4 of a pound heavier than the other stuff.
Ounces equal pounds, and pounds equals pain. And that's what when you're playing that 4-set gig.
Yeah.
Remember that we had that super lightweight one-piece ash body that we did in Fiesta Red, and we're like, man, this guitar's not going to weigh anything.
Yeah.
And then all the components that the guy sourced were like heavy block and it was like, it wasn't
and it
heavy,
ended up at
but
like
it was
8.1 pounds. And it's like, really, this
Yeah.
body was, I don't know that you could get an alder body much lighter than that one.
Yeah, if
it didn't have a heavy neck,
No.
but it was just
if
an
it had
average
a
Strat.
stop tail bridge, it'd have been noticeably lighter.
Yeah, it really would have been. Yep. Man, if I need to wear my glasses. Chris Valley says, your thoughts on an edgeless telly, meaning no edges anywhere, everything contoured and as a slight concave shape as to fit the player.
Well, that sounds pretty neat. Who's that, Ed?
Chris.
Chris? So, Chris, if that's something that you're planning on making, I think that's a neat design idea. One of the things that people ask me a lot, hey, don't you think it would be cool to do this? Hey, what about this? And I say the same thing every time. The line of people that go, hey, that's cool, is very long. the line of people that say, "Here's my money," is not quite as long. So, but I think that's a really neat. It's a neat idea, something that's contoured and as Ike Starks used to say, like a 2-day-old bar of soap. So I think that's a neat idea.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. 1683 Clifton wants to know, using acetone to fix nitro that got baked in a trunk. I've never really tried it on a guitar. I've sort of stuck stuff back down. Acetone, it's the strongest thing you could put on lacquer. It'll destroy it
melt
fast.
it off fast.
Yeah, so you got to be super, super careful, and you can't touch it. You put it on, and the thing you want to do is touch it or push it, and you can't do that. You'll put a fingerprint in it, or it'll stick to your finger, and you'll pull it off. So I haven't done enough of it to know. I guess people do it that way. I've seen videos of them doing that. Yeah, but I'd watch a bunch of videos before I'd do it.
I would be very concerned with a guitar that was left in a trunk long enough to damage the finish, may have damaged the adhesives holding the other things together too. Remember that one that we got, that grabber neck, and it had a scarf joint, and what had happened was it was left in the back of a car, and the glue melted enough to where the scarf joint started to push on the fretboard and actually pressed the fretboard off because that glue melted too, and the scarf joint came loose, and it was very, very subtle, but you could see it if you knew what to look for. And the guy brought it in, he's like, "I think my fretboard came off. Can you glue it back down?" And I looked at it, and I'm like, what happened was it was more than just the fretboard. So.
Yeah. Lucas asks,
Hey, Lucas.
actually he just says, down payment for beer on hogging out my guitar. Yeah.
So Luke was the guy who, wanted
Sorry.
to,
Why is Matt wearing tape on his glasses?
Well, who wants to know that?
Chris Velli again.
Chris, my glasses look exactly like Chris's glasses, and these are just peepers, readers. So I put this tape around them so that I would know which ones were mine to look at them.
Yep.
I wish it was some other reason, like Revenge of the Nerds reason.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Robert Pritchard wants to know, is there any plans on making a 335 type guitar? There's not many videos online of making them unless they are a kit.
There actually is. There are a lot of plans to make a 336 guitar. In fact, we've got one in the spray booth right now. It doesn't have any finish on it, but it's in there. It's not 100% exactly like a 336, but the 335 and the 339 have plywood or multiple veneer tops that are pressed in a vacuum and to make the arch. The 336 is a solid back and sides that is hogged out, not unlike this Challenger here, but there's less meat. It actually is abbreviated in the back, and then it's got a top. And I think the really expensive versions of those had a solid maple top that was also carved. We're making one that's flat just to kind of see if we like it, and so. Yes, there is a plan to make a 336 style, which is not too far removed from the 335. It's smaller. 336 is the same size as a 339, they're both kind of small compared to the 335, but the construction techniques would be the same if you wanted to use what we were using. So I'm looking forward to that, yeah.
Yeah, it should be good.
But it won't be like an acoustic where it's bent sides and tops glued on.
Yeah.
That's not really what we do here.
No, that's a...
Although I have thought about doing that.
Yeah.
Have I ever told you about that? Like I wanted to get the side bending jig out.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to have a bunch of other stuff that we don't have.
But you know how much I like to buy tools.
I know, yeah. All right, Jeff Parker wants to know.
Hi, Jeff.
He says, I'm replacing pickups, and the humbucker, the new humbucker is thicker than the old by a little bit. Thickness of the wires He said, I routed a channel for the wires but didn't measure 1/4 inch deep, but it went through to the trem springs. Is there a fix?
Does
so you
it?
can, does it hinder the trem springs?
Probably not. It's probably
wouldn't
yeah. I wouldn't
much
sweat it.
Sweat it, yeah, yeah. Or you can make one of those nifty little pick guard
That's
trem
Good idea.
things that I like to put in the trem cavity.
Sometimes we'll do that
cover it
where we'll
up.
put a piece of pick guard material exactly cut to the dimensions of the spring trough, I guess, on the back of the guitar, and you can sneak that in there, and that's a down and dirty way to repair that.
And that came about on a guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of it's basically that same thing.
And it looked so cool. You've actually done it on
I've
other guitars because
incorporated it
even if
as a
they don't
thing.
need it, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. If it's, I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't. It's an unfortunate thing that happened. I don't know that there's a whole lot of ways to fix it. And if you have to have that extra depth to get that pickup to fit, then that's what you got to have, right? Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I like the pickguard material in the. So if you're looking at the guitar from the back and the inside where the springs go, what Chris does is he mounts a piece of pickguard material. He has to sand it to fit it exactly, and it's a cool feature. And it would make that hole go away where the pickups pop through.
Yep. Yeah. Greg Pearl
Hey, Greg.
asks, I'm doing a body with rear mount pickups and rear pickup height adjustment. Any thoughts? I think it's cool.
It's super cool.
Yeah. Jesse and I have talked a little bit about that exact thing and how we would approach it, and yeah.
So not quite like we did on those Challengers where
Right,
we
because those still adjusted from
adjusted
the top.
from the top, yeah.
There's, what was that Gibson that we were looking at that had that? I can't remember either. It was a Gibson Les Paul of some sort that had exactly that, and it's a really clean look on the front, which is nice. It's nice.
Hey.
Yeah, especially for a humbucker. I think you have to do some funky stuff to the humbucker to get it to work.
I think it's an HP. I think it's
Didn't we
HP?
look like?
Okay.
It looked like they bent
it would bend the ears the other-
in the other direction, and
That's
then
the way I would do it.
yeah, then you basically had the springs mounted from the back, and you could adjust it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I would approach that.
You know, I always liked the Dan Armstrong thing. That was no pickup height adjustment. It would just slid in and then screwed in from the back, and that locked it all down.
Yep.
Which is not what Greg's talking about. Greg's coming out for our build a classic set neck guitar.
Yeah, cool.
That's going to be fun.
Yep. Zither Beast wants to know,
Hey,
on
man.
a typical build, how long does it normally take you guys to start and finish a new build?
Well, it depends on the complexity of the build, of course.
Yeah.
And it depends on the motivation attached to the build. So, like if you said, "Hey, I want you guys to build me a Challenger," right now we're at 6 to 8 months. If you said, "I want you guys to build me a Challenger, money is no object. I have to have it as soon as humanly possible." Well, if money really is a lot of people say money is no object, but don't mean it. So right now, like I said, our lead time is about 6 to 8 months. If money were no object and someone was willing to pay us to basically shut the shop down and do nothing but build their guitar, from sourcing material to putting strings on, what's the minimum amount of time we would need to do a Challenger, Chris?
2 weeks.
Yeah, because paint still has to dry, glue has to dry.
Yeah.
We have to go, we have to get the stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
But that never, ever, ever happens.
No, that does not ever happen. Dave Weiss wants to know,
Hey, Dave.
what are your thoughts on the non-fine tuning Floyd bridges?
Well, that's the original. And the only thing that I know about them is the best story that I have about them is Vinnie Vincent was adamant that his, that Flying V with 2 Vs had to have the original non-fine tune Floyd.
Okay.
I don't know why. So the downside is if you use that with a locking nut, every time that you pinch the strings with the locking nut, they're going to go a little sharp. So you kind of, there's really no way to adjust for that. I've heard a lot of people doing like that bridge and graphite nut and locking tuners. That would be a cool thing to try. They're very affordable, and they eliminate a lot of the things about Floyds that, kind of give people headaches. That relief cut, that trough thing. I would say that if you wanted to use that in lieu of a Strat bridge and you were going to use locking tuners, Happy Meal. That's a good move. If you really want to use the locking nut, I would go with the fine tuners, unless you're Vinnie Vincent, and then, then you call the shots if you're Vinnie Vincent. That should be obvious.
Yep. Jed says, real question this time. Swamp ash and most ash species are expected to go extinct. How much are you hoarding?
We're not hoarding any wood, and I don't think that swamp ash is going to be extinct.
The word that we got from Dan is not the word that Fender's spouting.
Yeah. I have 4 or 5 ash body blanks right now. Normally we have anywhere from 2 to a dozen of them. So, yeah, I'm not hoarding any of that stuff. I don't like to keep a lot of wood on hand. The only significant amount of lumber that I have is my secret stash of white limba, because I can see it from here. It's not like a ton, but I bought all of it that they had, and it was a long time ago. So, and I don't like carting it around. You know what I mean? So ash body blanks, we talked to Steve from Maximum Guitars. He came by this week, and we asked him what wood he used and on his new Nelly guitar, and he was talking about how he likes alder, and it's a single cutaway T style guitar, but it's got lots of other stuff going on. Check out Steve at Maximum Guitars. And he used alder for the body, and I like alder as a rule, but I generally don't like working with alder. Do you is alder one of your God, I love alder?
No, because it always does that crazy end grain checking as soon as you cut it, and then you have to figure out a way to fill that, which is a hassle.
So here's the question: if you don't like working with alder, and ash suddenly becomes unavailable, what's the next wood that Fender uses?
My choice especially for things that are going to get painted solid colors is poplar.
Yeah, mine too.
So I really don't see any difference between poplar and alder from a tone wood standpoint.
No. How do you feel about basswood? We've used it a
Basswood's
little
okay.
bit.
Basswood, the thing about basswood is I can definitely tell that it is a softer wood
Oh, yeah.
than alder and poplar. And for some people that's a turnoff, and for me it's a little bit of a turnoff. I mean, you definitely got to put a hard finish on it.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't think that finish is going to be as hard.
Yeah.
Abrasion or bump resistant.
So if
But it'd be okay.
if we have any problems getting ash, we'll probably switch to poplar or basswood for our classes. But yeah, I'm thinking probably more likely poplar.
Yeah, I like poplar a lot. I've even got I've done some sunbursts on poplar bodies, and they look great.
Yep.
Yep. Dan Andradas
Hey Dan.
asks, you put a neck break angle on a telly?
It depends on what bridge you are using. Absolutely, you can put a neck break angle on a Telecaster.
If it's a traditional Telecaster, no.
Yeah, it's not necessary.
No.
You could add a little bit, but for the most part, it's completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Usually Strats and Tellies don't, unless a neck pocket is too deep or something like that.
Now
which can
remember,
happen.
that takes. This is all kind of based on standardized thickness of neck material, fretboard height, fret height, bridge height, saddle dimensions, and stuff like that. So, so if I went to say Warmoth and said I want everything to make a Telecaster, I would not spec an angled neck pocket. Could you do it? Yeah, but you probably wouldn't need to.
Yep. Cool. But if you're doing something like a Bigsby, and you're going to have a little bit more, yeah. And so it kind of depends on the bridge.
And sometimes, like the Bigsby's for the B5, is that the horseshoe one? It wraps around and goes under and then comes back, so you can use, you don't have to use a very tall bridge. But yeah, like a lot of guys use the Mustang or the Jag bridge, and then you might want to have a degree or so.
Yeah, then you got to have a little bit more. Randy King asks, I'm making a teleneck. I'm ready to glue on the fretboard, but it now has a slight up bow, a 1/16 of an inch. It's already thicknessed.
Don't use it.
I'm using the Bitterroot truss rod. Any advice?
Don't use it.
Yeah, it sounds like that piece of wood went south.
It's a.
You could try re-thicknessing it. See if you can get it
Yeah.
flat
Well,
within,
but if it's a perfectly flat bow, which they never are,
that's true.
you might be okay. But a 1/16 of an inch
Probably
is significant.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use that. Chris, vamp for a little while. You're not vamping.
This is the part where he throws me under the bus.
No, it's not.
Hey, Chris, I know you're trying to find the next question, but stop what you're doing and talk about some stuff for a minute. And luckily, at this stage, you don't have a whole lot of time. You have a little bit of money probably in the blank, Randy, but you don't have a lot of time in it, unlike this.
Yeah. So a lot of people say, well, sure, that's fine. You were always talking about you just throw it away. This is a guitar that I cut up earlier today. If something goes south, I don't keep it around. I cut it up and I move forward. I fail quickly and move on. So this was a Challenger body that there was just a lot of stuff that was wrong with it, but it's already been bound and it's got, mahogany and maple and sometimes it's easier to just.
It had a couple of things, and you just didn't feel like you wanted to put your name on it.
No.
In the end, and there's ways we could have fixed it, and it would have been okay, but in some ways you just don't feel good about that. And that happened yesterday with another project we were working on. We're both like, I'm kind of bummed about this.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, well, we're going to make a new neck.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we're going to do to fix it, because we don't want, I don't want. In 5 years, or even next month when we sell the guitar, I don't want the guy to get it and go, well, this is kind of a turd.
This isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm going to
Yeah.
sell it on Reverb. And
Yep.
So I'm not saying, strive to cut stuff up, but strive to, be willing to let some of that stuff go, because it can come back and bite you.
It can. Yep. Well, I think we've come to the end of the questions.
Okay.
Which is perfect, because my thingy here has 10% battery left, and it's 6:02.
All right.
So we're right at the hour.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us for our weekly live Q&A, the only guitar Q&A, repair and building Q&A brought to you by real guitar play or builders. Wait a minute, let's start over again. Thanks for watching our weekly live guitar building and repair Q&A, the only one of its kind, with actual guitar builders answering your questions. I'd like to thank the good people at Aquacoat, Guitar Wood Experts, Flipside Music, the Great American Guitar Store, and Bitterroot Guitars. I'm sorry, John and Cheryl. I hope you guys are having a good time on your vacation. Guys, we will not be here next week because we'll be doing our online In the Weeds with Next class, but we'll see you the following Thursday. This is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you next time.